Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Micah Heiser. I'm the director at the Nebraska Prairie Museum. I'm also the vice president of the Nebraska Museums Association, here to help host today's monthly musing. Karen could not, our usual hostess, Karen had a conflict this morning, so I have the power of the Zooms. Today, our program is supposed to be John Woodward, over in Wyoming. I forget which exact museum he is. One of the state museums in Wyoming. I've known John for now 2.5 years, and we're to work together as kind of I'm the second in command as far as the programming for the Mountain Plains Museum Association. Uh, you can show of hands in the chat. Underneath there, you can put react. But kind of a show of hands. Has anybody ever been to a MPMA or Mountain Plains Museum Association conference before? Good, good. It's a great organization. I always highly recommend at least attending once a more the regional or a national museum association conference. It kind of can help put things into perspective on a local level. And so this year, MPMA for the first time in like 15 years is going to be in Nebraska. So this year in October. I think it's the 6th through the 9th. Ugh, I'm terrible. Man, look at me. It's like I'm on the board there or something. I should know all this. But yeah, this year's conference is going to be in Omaha, October 2nd through the 4th. And this is really exciting. Like I said, this is the first time in a long time that they've ever been to Nebraska. So this is a great opportunity to kind of come and attend a larger regional museum associations, and kind of meet and talk with other people. And of course, one thing that everybody loves to come to for these conferences is the sessions, the things that you can learn. This year, we already have some really amazing keynote speakers. One of the ones that I help kind of coordinate and get over there is it's the nutritionist that works with at the Henry Dorley Zoo, which it's to me it's a kind of a funny. We try to keep our artifacts preserved and there for the next generation, and theirs are just happen to be alive, so the stakes are a little bit higher for them. So that's one of our keynotes, for example, that'll be coming. And we've got a slew of some amazing sessions throughout the conference. And so I the I think yeah the session proposals were due 2 weeks ago, I think. So right now we're not taking on any new sessions, and that is something I think John originally was going to talk about, was how to prepare a proposal. But I'll just skip over and just do the shilling for MPMA, be the advertiser. So yeah, it's going to be in Omaha, October 2nd through the 4th. And I highly recommend trying coming. And there is yeah, the proposed like different things that we've seen are cool. Anyhow, does anybody have any like questions about MPMA, or is anybody planning to attend this year in Omaha? Um, Aaron, awesome. I'd love to see you there. The MPMA will have a presence at the Nebraska Museums Association conference here in 2 months, in April, 6th through the 9th, or 7th through the 9th. I forget me as a board member when I'm there versus the actual conference days. They kind of blur together for me. But am I right? Is it officially the 7th through the 9th? Um,
Yeah, it actually starts on the 6th.
on the
Like
6th.
Sunday the
Okay.
6th is the kickoff event and stuff.
Okay.
That's more informal, but yeah, the actual two conference days are this April 7th and 8th, Monday and Tuesday. Yep.
Okay. And so they're planning to have a booth there kind of promoting MPMA. And in one of our raffles, we are actually giving away the opportunity for free registration for NPMA in Omaha. So that'd be a great opportunity to kind of share for different museums in our area. And um, um, yeah, uh, trying to think if there's anything else. We have some like date like the one of the other fun things like with MPMA is they give the opportunity for like tours and day trips and the evening events. And this year we're doing something a little different. There'll be some, like I say, curated evening event, but they're also giving the opportunity for people to explore downtown Omaha, which I have never really done. We went there, I went there once just for like lunch at a place, but just to explore the downtown area in the evening should be really fun. Can geek out with your fellow museum nerds as you go bar hopping. Um, but some of the day trip stuff, I know that we're going to be visiting Eric over at um, uh, the what's the official name for Eric's is the Nebraska Black History Museum.
Great Plains Black History Museum.
Thank you, thank you. So yeah, we're gonna stop and be with stop over with Eric. We're also gonna go to the Nebraska Jewish Historical Society Museum, where we are partnering, and we're gonna have a first very unique exhibition of Thomas Nagley's art on exhibit there. So you'll be able to see even an exhibition from my museum over there in Omaha if you choose to go that tour. And so yeah, I'm really excited to see everybody there. And as always, if you have any questions or anything, let me know. Or you can reach out to um, uh, John's official email is program.committee@mpma.net. So if you want to reach out to John, tell him to have fun double booking himself. I've definitely never done that before. April, do you have any notes for this year's conference for either NMA or MPMA?
Pretty much, yeah, just everything you've kind of touched on so far. The both conference themes I feel like really will go together this year, and so we're really actually hoping for a good crossover presence at both conferences, not just because of the themes. Ours for NMA, it's remembering yesterday, planning for tomorrow, kind of this idea that, we are in the process of transitioning, but also don't want to forget and completely abandon everything that we've done in museums and stuff, and kind of this transitionary period. And then MPMA is Crossroads and Connections. And so that is more, connecting across different museum adjacent type entities and stuff, as well as just connecting various museums throughout the region. And so part of like this, remembering yesterday, planning for tomorrow for NMA is very much like looking to like how museums are going to collaborate more in the future, and how other museum adjacent entities are going to be utilized in the future. And so it basically, museum adjacent entity is basically something like a university that has a history department that maybe has a museum studies program, so museums can partner with them. Or yeah, like the Henry Dorley Zoo that will be in a MPMA in Omaha. And if anybody's never been there before, it's been ranked like the #1 zoo in the whole country multiple times. And once you go there, it's obvious why. It's a phenomenal zoo. But that is also considered sort of museum adjacent because we attract the same kind of audiences. People who tend to like museums also tend to enjoy things like the zoo or the library or theater or things like that. It's just kind of an overall focus on cultural humanities and stuff like that. So both conferences have very kind of similar themes. And so we're hoping to get a really good overlap, meaning at NMA and Alliance, April 7th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, we're hoping to have MPMA there to help promote the conference in October, as well as show there's a lot of overlap, not just in our region and the museums, but also the people who are actually involved with both. And so like I'm currently the board president at NMA, but also serve on the program committee for MPMA. And so we're trying to really collaborate across as much as we can, to bring the most benefit that we can to as many of our museums in our areas that we represent and help and outsource and outreach and stuff. And then since the MPMA conference in October is in Nebraska for the first time in a long time, we're really hoping to have a strong Nebraska presence there. So that's one thing I've been doing on the program committee, is really kind of pushing this, like, we need Nebraska people in Nebraska, and showcase how Nebraska is like one of the best places for museums and stuff like this. And just how Omaha and Nebraska really are a good travel destination and things like that. So spread the word out if you can, to anybody in Nebraska that you think might be interested or have a good perspective, or just um, this kind of idea of like the shifting culture of museums, or just how do we carry on into the future, because we know in Nebraska there's over 300 small museums, historic sites, and historical societies and things like that that fall under NMA's kind of membership qualifications. And so, one thing that we have been hearing about a lot in these Nebraska museums, especially, is a lot of them are starting to feel more and more isolated, and more kind of like, how are we going to survive into the future and things like that. So we are looking into ways, with both conferences, to kind of promote this idea of like, you don't have to be completely alone. Now that we have social media, we have things like Zoom, all that kind of stuff. It makes it a lot easier to reach out and connect with these other museums and stuff, and partner and see if your community can work to, like, if you have two kind of cultural entities that might be struggling, how can you work together? That kind of stuff. So hopefully, so yeah, if anybody can, if you just keep in mind, we really want to have a good, strong Nebraska presence and show MPMA that, Nebraska is a really good museum and just cultural tourist destination and stuff like that. And so I'm really excited because also it's going to be at the Joslin, which is brand new and renovated and stuff. And so be pretty exciting. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing. As far as like NMA and MPMA working kind of together on our two conferences and stuff.
I wanted to shout out somebody just joined, Andrew Donahue. He's the president on the board for MPMA. If you don't know Andrew, he is the director at the Mona in Kearney at the Museum of Modern Museum of Nebraska Art. Yeah, I lived in Kearney my whole life. You think I'd know the acronym? We just know as Mona. And so yeah, Andrew, do you want to mention anything about this year's conference? Why we've got you on?
Well, it seems like I'm going to be echoing exactly what my friend and colleague April shared here, that we'd really love to see a full and strong contingent out of Nebraska. This is going to be Nebraska's time to shine on a regional basis. And I think at NMA conference last year, we determined that if we had everybody in the room, that would make up a third of the prior MPMA conference altogether. So if a third of the conference came from Nebraska alone, wouldn't that be incredible to raise all ships at something like that? I'd love to see that kind of an outing from everybody in our state. Um, but yeah, as an organization, we're looking to build a stronger relationship between the needs of our constituents, the needs of our members, and the programs and things that we offer. So we're looking to strengthen a lot of that in listening to the needs of our constituents. Um, so there has been a number of different, changes in our field as of late, and we know that there's been a drop in participation with things post-COVID. And so what we're looking to reconnect to is, what is it that our members actually want, and how have how have their needs changed, but also how have the worlds and the services of the communities that they work with, how have they changed as well? And so through that, as conferences go, it becomes kind of this collective of raising all ships that MPMA has always been a part of. Because we feel like in this region, it's been kind of close knit. I've been on that board for more than 12 years, and after now having lived in Nebraska for a year and a half, first NMA conference I went to, I looked around the room and realized I have a lot of Nebraska friends here. I have a lot of people I know in Nebraska through museums, and so it's great to see that we have such great participation in all the cultural and historic institutions here. And so I would love to see, there's a lot of Nebraska Voices on our board at the moment. And so I would love to see where more of that can kind of be seen as a nexus for positive change in our field. So I wasn't really expecting to talk today, but it seems like I'm trying to kind of present off the cuff. I guess I understand that our the speaker, John Woodward, is MIA. Is that kind of what we're?
It's what I've pieced together is he double booked himself. He's planned a program committee at the same time yeah.
I apologize. I didn't know it's just suddenly want to stealing all the air out of the room here.
No, yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad that you were able to stop in. Does anybody here have any questions or ideas or comments about either the NMA conference this year or MPMA later on in October? Okay. Yeah, if not, if you would like to enroll, or what's the proper term? Not enroll, but sign up for the conference or register. There's the word I'm looking for. Register for the conference. You can find that at the Nebraska Museums Association website, as well as if you'd like to register for MPMA, you also can register on MPMA's website. And also remember to attend this year's NMA conference, or because you can have the opportunity to win free registration for MPMA. So that's another great way to attend here in April. So again, the NMA conference, that's going to be April's kickoff is April 6th through the 9th, and ends on officially it's the 7th and 8th, but it goes through. And then MPMA is October 2nd through the 4th. Right? Did I get that right that time? Yes, I think so. All right, so
First through the fourth.
First through the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get those right eventually. I'll probably be there day of, and I'll be like, oh yeah, it's today. So awesome. Thank you, April. Thank you, Andrew. Again, I'll apologize for my co-chair for not making it today, but thank you everybody for attending today's NMA Monthly's Musings. And as always, if you have any comments, questions about today's program, please reach out. We'd love to hear back from you. So anywho, we'll keep it short and sweet for today. So thank you everybody for coming. April, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just wanted to say, since the monthly museum musings that we're in right now was advertised as, talking about how to write a successful program session proposal and stuff, does anyone have any questions on that we maybe didn't touch on or anything like that? Because if anybody, I know, like John, I don't want to speak for John, obviously, but I've emailed him back and forth with a few different things, and Justin too, and everybody at MPMA has just been amazing and wonderful. If you ever have any questions or just want some like advice on stuff, like on how, like I would like to submit a session proposal maybe for next year, because I know session proposals for MPMA and NMA are both complete or the deadline's passed at this point. But if you ever do have any questions, a lot of us have presented and done, and we do a lot of like looking through session proposals and seeing like what sounds good, what one's kind of like, I don't know if this one's gonna work. So if you ever like put together a session proposal or something like that and need any, just like, can somebody take a look through this to make sure it sounds okay before I submit it? I know I would be happy to do that for anybody for a future NMA conference. We want to make sure and ensure that everybody succeeds as much as they can if they're, enthusiastically wanting to contribute to the museum conversation in any way. So yeah, so does anyone have any questions on the, writing programs or submitting session stuff before we sign off?
I was going to offer up maybe some advice in that realm in terms of MPMA. One of the things that we look to, and one of the things that we've done our best to listen to in the last couple of years, is listening to the needs of people and professionals that are leaving the conference and saying, what were you looking for from some of these sessions? What kinds of things are you looking for when you come to these sorts of sessions? At a certain point, we ask questions about what makes the most impact, what's most relevant. There are a few times where we've been remiss so as to say, well, nobody gets the 101 sessions anymore. Nobody really wants to learn how to make a box anymore, until you realize that's absolutely categorically false. Because, if we're doing what we can to support emerging museum professionals, and if we're trying to now in the future of MPMA serve as hopefully a training ground and a kind of a future leadership. There are plans within our strategic plan to create a leadership institute over the next 5 years in our most recent strategic plan. So, and this is modeled on some pretty successful programs out of the Northeast, and it's in conjunction with the Oklahoma Museums Association. If we receive the grant funding, we're moving full steam ahead with a leadership institute. And so we're talking about training future leaders and future programs and things. So we do have to have these understandings of people that are fresh into the career, molding future leaders and professionals. And so it's a long way of saying, don't be afraid of applying something on the technical aspect of tricks of the trade, of things that you've learned that you can offer particular advice. Those sorts of success stories work just as well as, well, here's how we managed this $75 million project, and here's how it worked for us. Where that seems like it might fall on deaf ears for, let's say, a local historical society of a staff of one, where it really doesn't become relevant. Um, well, I mean, it's not something they can connect to. It's relevant, but it's not something they can connect to. So it's a long way of saying, don't think that anything you have to offer wouldn't be something that people would be interested in. But also, a lot of what our membership is looking for, in particular, and speaking for MPMA, is tangibles, applicable skills, kind of components and things that they can take with them. I'm not saying you have to build a workbook for everybody that comes to your session on plexiglass torches 101, but it doesn't hurt to kind of build up some of those practical skills and takeaways. We wind up with a lot of these kinds of things where it's, hey, here's the process we had in a renovation, or here's the process we had in a new exhibition, and here's the things we've learned. And you wind up with kind of these catharsis sessions where it's everything we learned and nothing we'd ever do again, which again sometimes becomes somewhat unrelatable. But if you have an idea or a skill set towards a particular idea or a particular if a particular kind of skill or a particular type of victory you've had that you want to share that other people can benefit from, that's a perfectly valid component to create a session around and to build a session around. I say that now that I'm doing a presentation at this year's MPMA on the Mona project, and recognizing that I don't want it to be something that's not relatable. I don't want to. I'm sitting there with the architect and the project manager and myself, and what I don't want it to become is one of these sessions of, well, yes, we had this major project, and it just be something that's so unrelatable to people. I want people to have an understanding of where these kinds of things scale. And so with MPMA in particular, that's a mindset. Things can scale in both directions, and those kinds of applicable skills can go in both directions. So don't worry about it being something that may not connect with people in that way. MPMA in the last several years has had trouble with getting submissions. Not this year. I think we're about 10 over what our limit is. And so we're having to be a little bit more selective this year, which is great.
I kind of feel bad. Last year, we had to kind of rub some shoulders and get some people to fill in some proposals. Now we have to be the bad guy and start having to tell people no. Like I liked that last year. So, it made it, work a little bit more difficult, but then you don't feel bad.
That's true. But I would offer up the same thing that April said, that if there were any kind of questions or advice that people would want on how to apply for sessions, and how to participate or what are the benefits, I'm ever proselytizing on behalf of MPMA. I'm more than happy to share my thoughts on the benefits of the organization. And so I would put that out there to feel free to reach out to me at Mona, and just real quick, mona.edu, mona@unk.edu is the general email for the facility, or you can find us at mona.unk.edu.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. I think April had to bow out. So, but yeah, everybody, thank you so much for coming to this month's monthly musings. Aaron or anybody could help me out with what's next month's, or next month is the conference, or no, March. So is that
Next month's our conference preview.
Yep.
We'll preview the sessions and we'll preview kind of what the game plan is going to be.
Thank you. Yeah, so definitely show up to next month's monthly musings. Follow us, the newsletter, the NMA newsletter that gets emailed out for that link. If you are not receiving that, please, you could reach out to me or April, and we can make sure that you are signed up for the Nebraska Museum Association newsletter. So again, thank you everybody for coming today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday in your weekend. So again, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.